insights, picks, results. This is Wizard Sports Picks. Beyond the Lines.
Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Lines presented by Wizard Sports Picks for Friday, January 16th. Ian Cameron with you, and in this edition, we will talk about one NHL game for Friday night and one college basketball game for Friday night. We'll give you some picks for two of the games taking place on Friday night. Before we get to that, I do want to remind you about wizardsportspicks.com. Make sure you check out the website. On the homepage, enter your email address, and you will receive a free pick daily to your inbox. We've got a ton of great handicappers on the website in great form right now. We've got arguably the best roster there is in the entire sports betting space. And right now, I am off a 7-1 Wednesday on the website with premium picks across three different sports: NHL, NBA, college basketball. Make sure you check out the website. It has certainly been a great run. It is nice to say that I am profitable in NFL, NHL, NBA, college basketball. Profitable seasons to this point in all four of those sports. And I am currently ranked number one at Wizard Sports Picks in two of those four sports. Number one ranked in the NHL, currently at 116 and 98, 54%, plus 11 units of profit in NHL action this season at Wizard Sports Picks, and number one in the NFL at 70 and 45, 61%, plus 19.5 units of profit. It has been a phenomenal NFL season, and I will have at least a couple of plays, a couple of premium picks for NFL divisional playoff weekend available on the website. So make sure you get on board. More importantly, not just daily premium picks, get on board for a long-term subscription, because you'll invest with one of our handicappers for the long run, knowing that there's the potential for ups and downs. If you decide to subscribe with any one of the handicappers, including me long-term, you're more likely to profit and be better off for that in the long run. So make sure you get on board with any of the longer-term subscription options available. We now have 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, and 1-year all sports, all access passes available. So make sure you check that out at wizardsportspicks.com. All right, let's talk about two games for Friday across two different sports. We will start in the NHL. We will talk about a game taking place on the West Coast in the NHL for Friday night. It's the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Los Angeles Kings, a California rivalry here in this matchup. We've got Los Angeles minus 170 home favorites in this game. The total 6.5 right now, depending on which book you bet at. Let's start with the premise of where this price is. We have LA laying minus 170 here on home ice. We have a Los Angeles Kings team that all season long hasn't just been bad. They've been atrocious on home ice. 7-16 for the Los Angeles Kings at home this year. You are down money significantly as far as negative units if you have been betting the Los Angeles Kings in every home game this season. They're off back-to-back home losses against the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights, losing 3-1 to Dallas, 3-2 in overtime to Vegas. Like I said, 7 wins on the season for LA at home. And they face an Anaheim Ducks team that, yes, Anaheim has been struggling, and they have certainly cooled off after the red-hot start they had to the NHL season with the new head coach, Joel Quenneville, who, of course, knows how to turn around a team that's at the bottom and try to take them to the top. We saw him do it with the Chicago Blackhawks. But there's no doubt Anaheim's hit a rough patch. They had lost 9 straight games. Defensively, they had been struggling, giving up goals in bunches. I think it's fair to say that their number one goalie, Lukas Dostal, since he returned from injury, just hasn't been the same goalie, lost his confidence, really hasn't played with that same really strong form in net that he did early in the season. But the Anaheim Ducks finally snapped their long losing streak in their last game against Dallas after returning home from a 4-game road trip. They came back home and they snapped their 9-game losing streak by beating the Dallas Stars 3-1. And for the Anaheim Ducks, you got to imagine that is a massive weight off their shoulders. And I think this team has better hockey in them than what we've seen in the last 9 games. Let's not forget, this team was leading the Pacific Division at one point in time earlier this season before this long, lengthy losing streak took place. But now they enter this game off a 3-1 home win against Dallas, and I think Anaheim rides that momentum here into this game. More so than anything, win or lose, to me the value is with the road underdog Anaheim Ducks here in this game. This is also going to be a bit of a revenge spot because the last time Anaheim played LA, December 27th in this building, they lost 6-1, and it was right in the middle of their losing streak. They were not playing good hockey. They got shellacked. LA jumped on them early and never looked back. Let's not forget Anaheim was good enough to beat LA earlier this season at home 5-4. And when you start to look at the LA Kings track record as not just favorites at home, but bigger favorites at home, let me give you a little laundry list of examples of the LA Kings failing to get it done and spitting the bit, essentially, as bigger favorites. They were minus 170 favorites at home against Calgary, December 13th. They lost 2-1 in overtime. They were minus 165 favorites at home against Columbus. They lost that game 3-1. They faced the Seattle Kraken, who were on a back-to-back that night, a team that had lost 17 straight games, Seattle that is, on the second night of back-to-back games. And the Kings is a minus 225 favorite, lost at home to the Seattle Kraken that night by a score of 3-2. They were minus 240 favorites at home against the San Jose Sharks 8 days ago, and they lost 4-3 in overtime. Need I say more? This team has been favored by massive prices multiple times this year in this kind of a larger favorite price range and failed to get the job done. I think there's great value off snapping the losing streak, and often I like to back teams after snapping a long losing streak like Anaheim just did. I think there's great value with the Ducks in this spot, and I will recommend Anaheim plus 150 against the Los Angeles Kings in the NHL for Friday night for my first pick here on this edition of Beyond the Lines. All right, let's turn to the hard court and go to the college basketball slate for Friday night, and we'll go to the Mountain West matchup taking place Friday night. Colorado State taking on Boise State. We have Boise State 5.5, 6-point home favorites here in this game. 141.5 the total, pretty much across the board. Let's start with how this game sets up for both teams going into it. Colorado State has had some injuries, and Colorado State certainly hasn't played sharp, efficient, strong basketball game in and game out this season. There's no denying that. There's been a little bit of an erratic nature to what we have seen from Colorado State of late. But if you look at the Rams in the last few games, they beat UNLV at home 70-62. They did have a tough loss against Fresno on the road, 79-69, outright as favorites. But I think they have a better game in them here than that against a Boise State team that is just struggling mightily right now. This is a Boise State team that, the one thing we have seen in the Leon Rice era, he's been the head coach here of the Broncos for a very long time. They've always been usually one of the upper half teams in the Mountain West. Well, that's starting to come into question because this team here in Mountain West play has just a single victory so far in conference play. They enter this game 1-5 straight up, 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 Mountain West games. The only victory was against New Mexico at home, 62-53. And a absolutely brutal, painful, marathon overtime game that they played against San Diego State, in which they lost 110-107 to the Aztecs. It's almost like it set off a domino effect of just a crisis of confidence of sorts for Boise State. It's almost like they haven't been able to get past that loss to San Diego State because really ever since that loss, they get blown out as 8.5-point home favorites on their home floor against Grand Canyon, 75-58. They're a 1.5-point dog against Utah State and what's supposed to be a bounce-back spot on their home floor after getting blown out at home by Grand Canyon. And they get blown out again by Utah State 93-68. And then they play UNLV just a couple days ago on Tuesday That game goes to overtime. Another winnable game slips through the fingers of Boise State, and they lose in overtime 89-85 to UNLV at the Thomas and Mack Center. So this is a team that just is finding ways to lose games, that has really struggled confidence-wise. Their defense has fallen apart. They've given up 75 points minimum in 4 straight games. 3 of those games, they've given up 89 plus. This is just a team that has very little confidence right now. And now they're laying 5.5, 6 points at home, given this slide and this skid that they're on. No, not for me. I want no part of Boise State laying points right now. Colorado State coming off the loss at Fresno. This is 2 road games in a row. That's not the easiest spot, but you cannot deny the success Colorado State has had versus Boise. Colorado State has beaten Boise State 4 straight times, and they've covered 4 straight times. It's a 4-0 straight up in ATS run for Colorado State in the last 4 meetings against Boise State, including a victory outright here at Boise State last year as a 6-point underdog, 83-73. And then they beat them again in the Mountain West tournament 8 days later, 69-56. Colorado State has dominated this recent series, and Boise State's current form is not one that has me showing any interest whatsoever in laying points with the struggling Boise State Broncos. So let's take Colorado State +6 against Boise State on Friday night in Mountain West college basketball action. That will be your second selection on this edition of Beyond the Lines. That's a wrap for this edition of the show. I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks for tuning in. Get to the website, wizardsportspicks.com. Lots of great stuff going on, great sports in action, and NFL divisional playoffs this weekend. We've got the college football national championship game Monday night, Miami and Indiana. We've got NBA, college basketball, NHL. I'm in profit in 4 sports right now: NHL, NFL, NBA, and college basketball. Excited to keep the profits going for subscribers and clients at wizardsportspicks.com. So check out the daily premium picks and get on board with a long-term subscription as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. Enjoy the games and good luck. And thanks for tuning in to the Friday, January 16th edition of Beyond the Lines, presented by Wizard Sports Picks.